Alright boys, welcome back. So the GOAT of Black Clover Mobile is returning for his first ever re-release alongside the half anniversary tomorrow or tonight, or maybe even when you're watching this video. But I thought now will be a perfect time to do an update guide, as people are probably going to get this character again for the first time, or of course just want to see how much the game has changed since then, and there are a lot of new things to talk about. So we'll first start off, of course, with his skill page. His skill page is by far the most important thing about the character, because generally a naked Black Asta without his skill page is just a tank character. But when you do get his actual skill page, and he's going to get a massive damage dealt increase when he does have the obviously of course the anti-magic per defense. That's the most important thing, right? When it comes to us building up Black Asta, you of course want to go down the route of giving him full defense, because the more defense he has, the more tanky he is, but of course the more damage he's going to do. Also, it's important to note as well that with the release of Black Asta is also the release of a 999 banner, which supposedly is going to also feature the Witch Queen. If you are someone who's getting back in towards the game and of course picking up Asta for the first time, the reroll 999 banner allows you to pick up the Witch Queen for free, which is by far the best partner toward Black Asta. So that's something you definitely want to pick up. So yeah, let's quickly talk about dupes on the character. Do you need them? I would say no. If you, generally speaking, in PvP, sure, the more the better, right? But when it comes to us clearing PvE content, sometimes, especially going up properly, it's a bit of an overkill. So yeah, I'd say the sweet spot, obviously I wouldn't chase too much, but if you can get 2 or 3 dupes on the skill page, that is perfectly fine. I wouldn't go too crazy, just because we do know that, to be fair, in like 6 months time for our actual first anniversary, we're gonna probably get in Black Divider Asta, which will replace Black Asta, probably likely for PvP. I still think for PvE content, Black Asta, this one is going to be a bit better, because the reason why he does so much damage is because he does have a condition, which I'm assuming Black Divider won't have, but won't have the high skill ceiling damage, which Black Asta has right here. So, yeah, dupe on the skill page is probably a bit more important than dupes on the actual character, other than, of course, just getting more defense per dupe you do get, which means, obviously, of course, more damage as well. The crit defense is actually super important, because if you get created by you know, certain character like Julius or even another Black Asta, then that can make you lose the game. So yeah, the dupes do matter, but in terms of like chasing dupes, I'd probably prioritize, of course, the actual skill page. But if you plan to use this guy for PvP, then definitely dupe him out at least towards 2-star, because taunting is obviously huge in this game. And of course, getting towards 5-star, you're going to get the status immunity for 1 turn at the start of battle, which is always just obviously very, very good too. All right, so let's jump over towards the gear. Now, let me just quickly say, boys, my gear for Black Asta is kind of important, I'm not gonna lie, right? There's having fully transcended all of it, even my transcended substats are not that great either, but I want to say there's way more room for improvement. But with all that being said, my Black Asta generally clears through all PvE content, which is kind of what we're building up for here. But yeah, even with like decent gear, you can still get a lot out of Black Asta. But of course, when it comes towards PvP content, if you want to go towards the higher ranks, you really want to invest more into the gear, which obviously I haven't done because I don't use Black Asta in PvP. But when it comes to PvE content, this is by far more than enough here. So let's start off with by far the most important thing, and that is defense. Like you saw with the skill page, we get 19% increased damage dealt per 1.5k defense on the character when we get Black Asta anti-magic. And as you can see right now, we have a clean 30k defense, which means we're going to get upwards to 380% damage dealt increase when we do get obviously anti-magic. And that doesn't even apply towards the in-game stats we can get with obviously the defensive buff, or even just having more attack on the actual character. Yeah, it's a lot. Prioritize defense. That is what you want to do with a character to make it more tanky, but of course make him do more damage in anti-magic. And we do that by, of course, having the main stats on defense, which you can only get on the rectangles. When it comes towards the actual small cubes, you can only go towards attack, because bear in mind, Asta cannot actually have any magic attack on the character. So literally having any magic attack is just useless. So prioritize getting more defense, and of course getting attack on the cubes. Then when it comes towards substats, what you want to focus on is probably a bit more crit for obviously boss fights, bit more crit damage, damage resistance a little bit when it comes towards PvP, but of course is getting that actual main defensive stat, which I once again haven't done the best job of doing it, because I made this gear before we had the quality of life update to see the ranks of our actual you know, little substats, which you can see are really poor. And yeah, if you can throw in a few extra attacks, it's still important, because of course you want to have a bit more attack as well, but defense generally is obviously more important here. Yeah, I would say go for defense, attack, a bit of damage resistance, because you obviously don't want to get killed, and of course critical resistance too, if you can get any of those. And yeah, I mean, once again, I haven't finished transcending my gear, so that can give us a bit more attack and, of course, give us another substat, which we can hopefully get more defense here. Once again, you can see my stats aren't even that great, but you get a lot of CC, you get a lot out of him. And by far the most important thing, honestly, is the accessories. Accessories for any character is by far more important, but definitely with Black Asta, as there are a few ways and more ways to get, obviously, the defensive ones. You can see right now we have defense on our actual earrings. That is by far the most important main stat you can get here, because as you can see, we could of course get like crit damage. You don't want that. You want to get the one that's going to give you, of course, defense. The necklace, once again, you can get defense here. And when it comes towards the substats for your actual accessories, honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, if you can get some good substats, it's of course more important. But remember, they're barely giving out the rural stones for, obviously, substats. It's very hard to try to get the desired substats that you want. But I'd say at least if you are, once again, a free-to-play casual, just getting the main stat is honestly enough as well. And then right here, we have the crit rate one. I'm not too sure we can get defense. So yeah, just looking from my box, I believe the best you can get here is crit rate, crit defense, I think maximum HP. At least I would say for PvE content, because I definitely know there's a massive difference, especially when it comes to critting bosses. If you're obviously skill page for Black Asta, it's a bit under leveled a little bit, then I'd probably go towards crit rate. But if it was PvP, I might go towards HP. At that point, the ring accessory will probably be more important, is getting some good stats. So yeah, with that being said, boys, what's obviously the most important thing is getting the defensive piece on the actual earrings, getting the defensive main stat in the necklace, and then for the ring, I'll probably use whatever better substats that will benefit Black Asta over the actual main stat here. So you can see right now we got obviously 3.8k actual defense, which is obviously going to help towards Black Asta. With this one right here, you can see it's actually a lot better, more crit resistance and defense. We're definitely going to put that one on. As you can see, we're going to get more defense down there, which means obviously more damage dealt. When it comes toward Black Asta's talents, it's pretty straightforward here. This is, of course, is what you'd have. Defense, once again, defense is the most important thing about a character. Of course, once again, defense is the most important thing for the character. And of course, using the defensive stone, whichever one you get. Unfortunately, I have not gotten the purple defensive yet, but that's still perfectly fine. Asta, of course, can only get attack, so go towards attack and, of course, damage dealt. You could go towards more crit rate if you want to, but if you're not critting like a lot, then I just go towards more damage dealt. Now, this is by far the most important thing about Black Asta, and that is having the resolution talent on the support for you and your whole team. As you can see right here, it does say grant debuff immunity for 1 turn upon resistant damage, which means you block damage in PvP. And with Asta's tier 2 skill, with his skill page, you are going to get total defense, which means you're always going to block, which means you're always going to have debuff immunity for yourself and your whole team. When you're actually building up Black Asta, by far the most important thing when it comes to his talents is getting that debuff immunity for yourself and, of course, your whole team. When it comes towards leveling up skills, your tier 1 is not bad to do, but I don't find it too useful. If you're using Black Asta, the most important thing is honestly all of them, apart from the guy attack. You don't really care too much about that, but by far the most important one is the ultimate, because the ultimate, at least for PvE content, is just going to deal more damage. Plus the scaling is a lot higher, as you can see, 25% over the 6% here, which is I would say if I had this leveled up a little bit more, it would have been more useful a little bit, but I'm not too fast. Most of your damage in PvE is going to come from the ultimate, and most of your damage in PvP will probably come from the actual AoE skill, as they're going to deal more damage towards the whole team. So yeah, I prioritize the ultimate, or at least PP. If you're PP, the actual tier 2, PvE, the ultimate. Alright, so when it comes to building a team, is like I said, the best team and the best partner is, of course, the Witch Queen, as the Witch Queen is going to reliably, manually as well, set Black Asta into anti-magic. So you at least have 1 turn, but I would say make sure if you do plan to do that, that you actually then use the AoE skill first with obviously Black Asta to get your total defense and your defense increased by 175%. Because yeah, if you enter anti-magic, then you're not going to get that defensive buff for you and your team. So make sure to use this before you use the ultimate Witch Queen. But then again, if your Asta, it has crazy defense and of course a maxed out skill page, then you can probably shred through even without that defensive buff. But if you're versus like a no mirror match, be a bit careful. When it comes to PvP, you want to use a 4 mono red team, so your Black Asta can get immortality when he drops below 30% HP. So what you want to do here is only use red characters. By far, I'd say the best combo right now is probably and of course Charmy if you build up a little bit to get that actual burns off. And that's kind of basically it. You might want to put in Finral if you don't have Charmy. I've seen a few people use Charlotte. to get that extra tons of Black Asta. And yeah, that's kind of been like the best team right now for the last few months with obviously Black Asta. But I will say there is a new supporter coming out 2 weeks from now, actually. I believe after Spirit Dive, you know, we're going to be getting this guy, which you can pick up for free. But if you're heavily invested into mono red, which I wouldn't recommend going now. But if you are free to play or casual and you're now getting back into the game, once again, you can pick up Black Asta now in the free run banner. You can then obviously get the Witch Queen for free. And you can also pick up Real for free as well once he comes out in the new season. And you can then spend your actual seasonal reunion key to get him for free, which you can see right here. It's all about buffing up Black Asta. His single target skill is going to grant a ally defender, Black Asta, a actual increase in stamina. And of course here, once again, you can then choose an ally to get more mobility stamina. You can put that towards Black Asta. You're going to be getting 1 SP buff every single turn. Once again, he wants to be used on a full mono red team, so that's going to fit into Black Asta and the Witch Queen even better. And then just reducing damage taken, and of course giving more speed to Black Asta and the Witch Queen so we can recycle stuff a lot faster. So yeah, I'd say probably put Ro in there, and then boom, you got a pretty good team. But when it comes to PvE content, there's a lot of ways you can go about doing things here, and that is more or less just buffing up with Black Asta. So you can do that one, of course, doing it manually with the Witch Queen, putting Asta into anti-magic when you obviously buff it like crazy. But then you can use a free buffers, so I love using Charlotte to get that defensive penetration. A lot of bosses now are kind of coming out to kind of counter Black Asta, so you have a lot more defense. But if you get more defensive penetration off the, obviously the Charlotte, then that is going to give you a lot of damage. You can also, what I love to do as well is bring Sally, which is going to give you, she does buff up magic attack, which doesn't affect obviously Black Asta, but you are going to get that crit rate, which it can be very, very helpful. You can use the ultimate, which is going to give you attack and magic attack. The magic don't matter, but getting attack is pretty good. You get that crit damage as well. If you have a skill page, you get the all magic attack too, which is obviously very, very good as well. So yeah, when it comes to boss here, it kind of comes down to what character you're using for phase 1 and phase 2, because it does require 2 different teams. But Finral can be good as well. But Sally, you're probably normally using with Raya, so this would probably be my go-to, I believe that is, or maybe use like a gift so as well. It kind of depends on what you use during phase 1, because the Witch Queen and Black Asta can kind of solo it together. So yeah, boys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully this video did help out, and you now can gear up your Black Asta to where he can be the best character, and still probably be one of the best characters for the next like 6 months on global, until we do get Black Divider Asta, which might replace Black Asta. But then again, when it comes towards sheer nuking, I don't think we're going to get someone as strong as Black Asta. Yeah, definitely worth the investment. Definitely best time to build him up, especially with the fact that you can get Witch Queen for free, and also with obviously Rue coming out in about 3 weeks time. Pick him up for free. It's the best time to start using Asta and pick him up. So boys, thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.